Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting. Today, agentic AI crosses the Rubicon as Grok Bot enters the wild. Google hits 1 billion users, and the job of a software engineer gets reduced to a simple markdown file.
Yeah, and what's just fascinating here is how violently the narrative has shifted over just like the last few weeks.
Completely.
I mean, we are entirely past the era of what can this AI say to me, and we're firmly in the era of what is this AI about to completely replace.
Right.
And more importantly, if you look at the market mechanics, who is actually building the walls around this new automated economy?
Exactly. And that is really the mission of this deep dive for you today. We're scanning the raw feed of culture and market data to figure out not just what is happening on the wire, but who actually benefits from it and what it means for you on the ground. We're looking at the launch of truly autonomous AI software, the brutal market scale wars happening behind the scenes, the actual physical cognitive costs this is going to have on your brain, and then finally we'll look up at the physical world.
Yeah, it's a massive shift.
So let's just dive right into the biggest market shifting news. AI is no longer just chatting, it is doing.
Right.
The team at Grok just announced that Grok Bot is officially in public beta.
And we really need to pause and establish the context here because the term bot almost undersells it.
Yeah, it sounds like an old customer service widget.
Exactly. This isn't a chat bot where you ask for a pancake recipe and it spits out text. This system operates as an autonomous teammate. It essentially has its own virtual computer.
Wow.
Yeah, it signs into your user tools, it navigates your apps, it completes full end-to-end tasks, and then it simply returns the finished results to you.
Which is wild.
Right. We know this started as an internal prototype over at XAI, and apparently it fundamentally changed how their own internal teams operate.
And the early access reviews are glowing to the point of sounding like science fiction. Like you have developers like Ben from the Cursor AI team calling this the clear AI product of 2026.
Yeah.
He noted how it spread internally through their company faster than any software he has ever seen.
I saw that, yeah.
And then Lenny outlined his exact daily workflows with it. He's using this bot to scan his inbound emails for job matchmaking. He has it auto-replying to support tickets. And this is the one that really blew my mind. He's having the bot scan his monthly credit card statements.
Oh, right, the subscriptions.
Yes, to identify subscriptions he doesn't use and then manually navigate those websites to cancel them for him.
I mean, that's the consumer-friendly use case, and, you know, it's great for saving $15 a month on a streaming service.
Sure.
But if we connect this to the broader enterprise picture, the true disruption is the scale of the automation. Eric Zakariasson recently posted a list of 100 different enterprise use cases for this Grok Bot beta.
100?
Yeah, 100. And one of them completely caught my eye. He described using it for a complex sales play. Historically, this specific task would require roughly 2 hours of human labor.
Yeah.
You'd have to identify your SQL audience. And just to be clear, in the sales world, SQL stands for Sales Qualified Lead, meaning a prospect who has been vetted and is ready to be sold to.
Right, so it's not a database query in this context, it's an actual vetted human being you want to target.
Exactly. So a human would normally have to find those leads, write personalized copy for each of them, and then perform what's called a reverse ETL.
Okay, wait, you're going to have to break down reverse ETL for us.
Sure, yeah. So ETL usually means extracting data from your daily apps and loading it into a massive central data warehouse for storage.
Like putting it all in one big bucket.
Right. So reverse ETL is taking that enriched, analyzed data from the warehouse and pushing it back into your frontline business tools like Salesforce or Marketo so your sales team can actually use it.
Oh.
Doing that manually, making sure all the fields map correctly without breaking the entire system. I mean, it's tedious, high-stakes work. It takes a human a couple of hours. Right. Grokbot executes the entire sequence, finding the leads, writing the copy, and securely moving the data in seconds.
That is staggering.
It really is.
But it's not even just contained to enterprise software suites, you know. Look at what David Heinemeier Hansen just posted.
Oh, DHH, yeah.
Yeah, he did a full apartment network upgrade with physical Ubiquiti gear. Like, he installed a cloud router, 3 U7 Pro access points, and instead of configuring it himself, he created a local admin account just to let an AI agent, Claude, in this specific case log, into his network hardware.
That is just so bold.
Right. The agent automatically optimized all the radio channels, tuned the mesh settings, and made sure all his physical devices roamed ideally between the routers. He literally called it sci-fi.
Well, it is sci-fi, but it's also a flashing red light for the entry-level white-collar workforce.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely. It raises a very uncomfortable question about the fundamental nature of what a company even is anymore. There was a great observation from Rohan Paul pointing out that the boundary between a simple product specification and a live, functioning product is just completely dissolving.
Yes, I saw that. He shared a clip of Theo Brown speaking at the AI Engineer World's Fair, which really echoed what Gary Tan from Y Combinator has been saying recently.
Right, exactly. The core idea is that a simple markdown file, just a basic text document with some formatting, can now behave like a small software service.
It's crazy.
You don't need a massive code base. The AI simply reads the instructions in the text file, knows how to use external tools, and acts on a schedule, much like a cron job.
And for anyone who hasn't spent time in a Linux terminal, a cron job is basically just a time-based job scheduler. It's just a command that says, hey, computer, run this specific script every day at 3 p.m.
Exactly. So if your entire startup's backend can now be boiled down to a text file that an AI agent reads and executes on a loop, the complexity required to run a business just plummeted.
Right.
And consequently, the headcount required to run that business plummets with it.
Wait, but are we really just firing the weavers here, or is this the Industrial Revolution all over again?
What do you mean?
I mean, think about it. When the power loom was invented, we didn't just fire all the manual textile workers and pack it up, right? The cost of fabric dropped, demand exploded, and we built massive global textile empires that employed millions more people in entirely new roles.
That's true.
If you could spin up a software service with a plain text file, maybe this extreme efficiency is actually just the factory floor for jobs and complex systems we literally can't even fathom yet.
Yeah, so that's the optimistic macro view.
Yeah.
And historically, technology does create more jobs than it destroys in the long run. But the transition period is going to be incredibly turbulent for anyone who doesn't own the underlying infrastructure.
Fair point.
Which brings us perfectly to the actual invisible war being waged right now.
The scale war.
Exactly. If these AI agents are becoming the new operating systems, if they're the new factory floor, the mega caps are engaged in a vicious battle to own the rails and lock in the users.
And the sheer scale of that battlefield is almost hard to comprehend. Like Google just announced that the Gemini app hit 1 billion monthly active users.
1 billion.
That makes it the fastest growing product in Google's entire corporate history. And Google Vice President Josh Woodward shared some wild internal stats on this. 63% of users are talking to Gemini via voice.
Wow.
Not typing, talking.
Yeah.
And busy parents are apparently 43% more likely to use that voice mode. This massive consumer scale puts them right neck and neck with OpenAI's ChatGPT, which also just crossed that 1 billion user threshold.
Yeah, Google is absolutely leveraging its massive consumer reach and, the Android ecosystem, but OpenAI is countering highly aggressively on the developer front, which is where the real infrastructure lock-in actually happens.
Right.
OpenAI just launched a native Linux desktop app.
Which is a massive deal for the developer community. It's supported on Ubuntu, Debian, and Fedora. It allows for the native use of ChatGPT work and Codex, right, where engineers are actually building their products.
Mm-hmm.
We are talking about agentic tasks, like writing, compiling, and verifying C++ code locally on the machine.
That's a great tool. But the truly dangerous move, the one that really shakes up the market, is what the OpenAI dev team, specifically Thibault, just announced.
Oh, this was crazy.
Right. They released a feature allowing users to essentially import your world. You can seamlessly port projects, chats, specific skills, plugins, and settings from rival AI agents straight into the ChatGPT desktop app with real-time automatic syncing.
It's wild. It literally detects your external providers, whether you're using Gemini or Claude or whatever, and pulls your entire workflow over without breaking your existing setup.
Yeah.
Think about the software stack you use at work right now. Think about how agonizing it would be to migrate your entire company, from Microsoft to Google, or from Salesforce to HubSpot. OpenAI is betting they can make that pain completely disappear for you.
Exactly. This import feature is a direct targeted assault on competitor switching costs. Historically, software companies rely on the sheer pain of migrating data to keep you subscribed. The friction is the business model. OpenAI is trying to erase that friction entirely. But this is where you have to look at the second-order effects. They might be fighting the wrong moat.
What do you mean by that?
Well, look at the subtle post from an engineer at Anthropic recently regarding the EU AI Act.
Oh, the watermarking thing.
Yes. Claude is now embedding invisible, machine-readable watermarks into all of its generated text to comply with European transparency laws.
Wow.
And this isn't just a stamp at the bottom of a page. It's woven into the statistical output at the model level. It persists even if you copy-paste the text into a different document. And Anthropic is even shipping a specific text detection API just so developers can identify it.
And other labs are adopting this too, right? Because it has historically been so incredibly hard to identify AI-generated text natively.
They are. But what's fascinating here is the market dynamic. While OpenAI is spending millions trying to remove friction for users switching platforms, the sheer weight of these global regulations, like the EU AI Act, is creating a massive, expensive compliance moat. If you are required by law to develop machine-level watermarking and run dedicated detection APIs just to operate legally in Europe, you are icing out the smaller open-source competitors who simply cannot afford that massive compliance overhead.
Right.
The heavy regulatory costs actually end up protecting giants like Google and Anthropic from upstarts.
So if we look at OpenAI's strategy with this import feature, doesn't this entirely backfire on them?
How so?
If developers can port their entire environment seamlessly between ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok with zero friction, doesn't brand loyalty in AI just drop to zero? If you're OpenAI and you make it incredibly easy to switch, aren't you accidentally turning your own cutting-edge, billions of dollars to train models into a cheap commodity? Like the moment Grok is 5% faster or Claude is 5% cheaper, you just click sync your world and leave OpenAI behind.
Yeah, that is the exact existential risk they are running. They're betting the entire farm on the assumption that their model will always be the smartest one in the room, so you'll never want to leave. But if we connect this technological arms race to the actual societal impact, we have to look at what happens when these models do become the smartest in the room.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, if we are automating all our code, all our sales emails, all our network optimization, what is the actual biological cognitive cost to the human brain?
And that brings us to the human toll. Let's start with the grand existential timeline before we look at the biology.
Okay.
Dorkesh Patel recently posted about his podcast debate with AI safety researcher Ryan Greenblatt.
Oh, I listened to that.
It was intense, right? They were debating recursive self-improvement, the idea of AI building better AI. Greenblatt laid out a median timeline of 2031 for completely automating AI research and development.
2031, that is so soon.
So soon. The core of their debate was whether within a year of hitting human-level intelligence, we would slingshot toward having tens of billions of superintelligences operating all at once.
Right, and Patel was highly skeptical of that specific timeline because of massive compute bottlenecks and the sheer lack of novel human expert data left to train these models on. But he found the overall case plausible. They spent a lot of time discussing the alignment implications, meaning if current relatively dumb models already show signs of reward hacking, where they cheat to get the right answer, does that extrapolate to massive collusion and takeover risks when they are actually super intelligent?
It's a terrifying grand vision of 2031. But contrast that with the messy reality we are actually experiencing right now today. Martin Casado, a partner at A16 Zest, posted an observation that I think cuts right through all that sci-fi hype.
What did he say?
He's been spending a lot of time reading commit messages on pull requests lately.
And for the non-engineers listening, a pull request or a PR is essentially when a developer submits a chunk of new code they've written and asks the team to review it and merge it into the main project.
Right.
The commit message is just the explanation of what that code actually does.
Exactly. And Casado noted that invariably, when he reads a commit message that sounds beautifully polished and perfectly fluent, but is actually incredibly confusing, unhelpful to the engineers, it was written by AI.
Wow, yeah.
Human-written PRs, he notes, might be clunky or brief, but they're so much clearer. The AI excels at fluent language, but it completely lacks precise context and intent.
And this is exactly where we hit what is being called the friction deficit. We're eagerly delegating all these tasks to tools that sound incredibly smart but are functionally hollow. And in doing so, we're actually damaging ourselves.
What do you mean?
There is a brilliant synthesis posted by neuroscientist Nicholas Fabiano. He connects motivational frameworks like author Mark Manson's advice that you need to actively seek out and do hard things directly to the physical architecture of the brain.
He's talking about the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, right? The AMCC.
Precisely. The AMCC is literally the brain's hub for tenacity. It is the physical region that integrates effort, reward, and goal-related signals so you can persist through difficulty.
Right, Andrew Huberman has talked about this extensively.
Exactly. This specific brain region activates and physically adapts when you lean in on meeting the challenges, when you push through frustration. If we outsource all our difficult tasks, all our tedious data workflows, all our complex coding to Grok Bot and Codex, we are systematically depriving our brains of the friction required to build those neural adaptations.
Wow.
By making our daily lives utterly frictionless, we are structurally weakening our brain's biological ability to do hard things.
Let's use a fitness analogy here because I think it perfectly illustrates the mechanism of what's happening.
Okay, lay it on me.
Think of agentic AI as a digital forklift. You work in a warehouse and you use a physical forklift to move heavy pallets. You don't worry about losing your physical strength because you understand that you can just go to a physical gym after work to maintain your muscles.
Right, yeah.
You go lift weights to get those micro tears in the muscle fibers so they grow back stronger. But where is the gym for our cognitive tenacity?
That is a great question.
Staring at a blank page and being frustrated trying to write a complex sales email, that frustration is the rep. That is the micro tear for the AMCC. If we let agentic AI do all the intellectual heavy lifting, aren't we headed for a society of cognitive couch potatoes where our tenacity hub just literally atrophies?
It is the quiet crisis running completely underneath this entire productivity boom. The brain is remarkably efficient. If you don't use the tenacity hub, you lose it. The neural pathways literally prune themselves.
Which is exactly why I want to pull us completely out of the digital anxiety of AI, superintelligence, and cognitive atrophy for a moment.
Please do.
I want to ground the end of this deep dive in physical reality, in history, and in the skies above us. NASA posted today about the total solar eclipse happening on August 12, 2026.
Oh, that's going to be amazing.
It's going to trace a path across Greenland, Iceland, and northern Spain. They released this incredible 80-second video featuring photography experts explaining exactly how to capture it, using certified solar filters, manually focusing your camera lens, and taking a moment to actually scan the landscape around you to watch the strange shadows fall.
Meanwhile, SpaceX is entirely focused on a very different kind of skyward view. They just launched yet another Falcon 9 rocket from Florida, putting 29 more Starlink satellites into orbit.
And that specific booster just completed its 18th flight. They landed it flawlessly out on the Atlantic on the drone ship, a shortfall of gravitas. That puts the Starlink constellation at well past 10,900 active satellites currently in orbit. And just to round out our anchors to the physical world, Paul Graham threw in a fascinating piece of cultural history today.
Oh, I loved this one.
He pointed out that you can tell almost no one actually knows that New York's nickname is the Empire State, based entirely on how we say Empire State Building. We emphasize the word state. We stress the second word.
Right, which linguistically shows a very weak association with the original meaning of the nickname. He noted that George Washington actually called New York the seat of the empire way back in a letter written in 1785, highlighting its incredible strategic and economic importance right after the Revolution.
It's wild how we forget these things.
It is. But notice how all these physical world events, the rockets, the orbital infrastructure, the historical foundations of our cities, they aren't actually separate from the digital anxiety we were just discussing.
How do you mean?
They are the absolute foundation of it. Think about those 10,900 Starlink satellites currently flying overhead.
Yeah.
That is the exact massive physical infrastructure required to ensure that those autonomous Grok bots we talked about at the top of the show are universally connected no matter where they are.
Oh, wow. I didn't even connect that.
Right. An AI agent optimizing a complex mesh network in an apartment or a bot executing a global sales play relies on constant, ubiquitous, high-bandwidth connectivity. Space isn't just about exploration or watching eclipses anymore. Low Earth orbit is literally the internet service provider for the entire agentic economy.
That's a crazy perspective.
We are terraforming the physical world solely to support the digital one.
See, I can follow you on the satellites, but I am going to defend the eclipse here.
Sure.
I just don't buy this purely utilitarian view of the sky.
Fair enough.
The eclipse doesn't serve a software service. It doesn't ping a data center. Standing outside with solar filters, feeling the temperature drop, and watching the moon completely block the sun for a few fleeting minutes. Maybe that is exactly the kind of non-optimizable, quote-unquote, useless human experience we need to desperately protect against the AI efficiency machine.
Yeah, I see your point.
It is a moment of pure, frictionless awe that a markdown file simply cannot replicate and a Grok bot cannot automate for you.
Awe is fine. I'm all for awe. But I'll leave you with a highly cynical prediction for tomorrow, based on the brutal mechanical trends we've looked at today.
All right, let's hear it.
Because OpenAI just launched a completely frictionless way to import external AI projects and sync your data across platforms, tomorrow we are going to see a major legacy enterprise player announce a new, highly restrictive security policy.
Of course.
They will undoubtedly frame it to the public as a move to protect user privacy and safety, but functionally, it will effectively lock down their data silos to stop the massive bleeding of automated workflow migration. The walled gardens are going up just as the agents are finally learning to walk.
And as you sit down at your desk today, and you are tempted to hand off your most tedious, frustrating tasks to an AI agent, ask yourself, is this really saving you time so you can conquer harder, more meaningful challenges? Or are you just slowly letting your brain's tenacity hub turn to mush?
Keep your vibe in check and your critical thinking sharp.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow on the Daily Vibecasting.